About a month ago, we did a review of this Walker rebuild kit for the Edelbrock Carburetor, and I had a gentleman send me a note saying, we looked at the wrong kit, and he sent me one, so we're going to take a look at it today. So I got a really nice letter from a gentleman. I'll read a couple little excerpts out of it, but he mailed me this kit saying that we need to test this one and get a little bit better idea of, does this one work in equivalent with the Edelbrock kit to rebuild an Edelbrock carburetor. And he says, I watched your video on the carburetor kit comparison. He was disappointed in it, so he called Walker. I guess probably I should have done that, but good on him for doing it. They gave him a part number of one that's a little closer to the Edelbrock kit instead of being a Carter mix, and gave me a part number, what he paid for it on Amazon, and he mailed me one. So his name's Jimmy. I appreciate you sending me the letter, and certainly appreciate you doing the research and finding the kit. So we're going to break this down and see what this Walker kit looks like. So let's jump right in and see what this one looks like. I will leave a link to this kit down in the description below, and we'll see if it works out here. So, okay, right off the bat, a little interesting. They include the air horn assembly gasket separately outside of the box. I'm assuming it's because it doesn't fit into the box that well. Edelbrock goes ahead and shrink wraps that in there. This one has been sealed, so let's go ahead and open this up, and we'll see what it looks like. Again, we talked about this in the last video. Walker does make all of the Edelbrock kits for it. It's a made in the USA company. They're based out of Chicago area, and they do all the Edelbrock kits for them. So it stood to reason when we looked at the Carter kits that these are going to be very, very similar. The quality of the product is going to be the same. So let's go ahead and knock open the Edelbrock kit. We'll look at these at the exact same time. Now this one I had already opened up in the last one and saved a few things out of it. So let's take a look at the air horn gasket here. So I think what I did is I saved some pieces out of that Carter kit. Okay, yep. So when the air horn assembly gasket is in the Edelbrock package, it does get a little bit of bent, but really I've never had an issue with it. Let's just verify that this Walker one matches up. I'm assuming they're going to be perfect, and it is. It is the exact same gasket. Again, same material and everything. Walker makes these for it, so that's good to go. Now, let's take a look at some of the other things here. Now, this is the kit that is within all the Edelbrock product. So we're going to take a look at this step by step here, but without opening up a new kit, because this is the one we looked at last time. So if you remember in the Carter one, we had this issue with, not really an issue, but the Carter one had the spring-loaded needles for the needle and seat assembly, and I do consider that an upgrade. Edelbrock sells it separately as an upgrade for their off-road needle and seat kit. This one has the standard Edelbrock style needle and seat. Let's just go ahead and open one of these up, and we'll just verify it here. And just like last time, let me get a towel down so we can take a look at this thing. So now we got it open. It's a quick, little easy visual. It's actually marked the exact same. Edelbrock has a 42 that's stamped on it. This is absolutely identical. So needle and seats are the exact same. None of that, the funky little off-road needle and seat option in there. So needle and seats are going to be the same. Let's take a look at some of these other items that are separate within here. We're going to take a look at that in just a minute. Let me crack this open. Looks like they do a little bit of the same with this, but let's just take a look at it here. So air horn assembly, air cleaner gasket. Absolutely love that product. That's the same. It's included in the Edelbrock kit. Base plate gasket, exactly the same. I'm going to go ahead and just remove these out of the Edelbrock kit while we're talking about it at the same time. So, a gasket for the choke assembly housing. So that's the same. Good. Little ruler that they included, a little paper ruler. I believe that was in the Carter kit as well, but I'll have to take a look at it. That's the same. We have the little screen that goes from the inside for the fuel inlet. So that's good. Get some of these out of here. The spring for the pump assembly, accelerator pump assembly, that's also included. That's good. You've got the nice little compression gasket or for the inlet for the fuel. So that's good. And then you've got the pieces that are for the marine accelerator pump. Now, one thing that was interesting in the one from the Carter kit is it included, I think I saved it here, I did. It came with a whole new pump assembly. That's not bad, but for whatever reason, these just don't go bad that often. Occasionally you'll ruin one, but really it's just replacing the accelerator pump gasket that needs to go on there. So that's all they included here. They cut the price down, I guess, or the cost down of it by putting that little gasket in there, or the accelerator pump in there. So that's good. That's also for the marine carburetor. That little spring is for the 750. Let's see. There's two carburetors that have the spring right now. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I'll leave it on the screen here. But that spring is for the check ball for the nozzle assembly. So that's included in there as well. So we can take some of this out of here, but let's go ahead and crack open this package because it's really all that's left in this kit. And seeing some things already that are interesting, but let's go through this. Now, when we look at the gaskets here, these are very, very specific. If you remember in the other Carter kit, they had a lot of different gaskets that are in there because you're dealing with a lot of different Carter carburetors. These are exactly specific to the Edelbrock carburetor. That's all you get in the kit. You don't get the wide assortment that you had in the Carter kit where there was a ton of different ones just because there's different carburetors that are out there. So that's good. Kind of cuts the confusion down, I guess. We'll just verify this really quick with a couple of the Edelbrock gaskets. That way we can say we've done our due diligence here. Edelbrock one for the nozzles. Perfect. This is for the primary, and that's a secondary gasket. So there's a primary, and there's secondary. And they are identical. So that's a positive in that kit. You don't have all the other extra gaskets that you would have used or would have needed, I guess, or would have gotten anyway in the Carter kit. So I think I'll have to go back here and look. These are the springs for the rod and piston. Get that out of here. That's good to have a couple of those. The little hold-down clips for the electric choke assembly. And this is interesting. We've got a lot more of the little clips that are used. So that's nice to see. And then a couple of the larger ones you typically just don't use. But that's good. That's really, really good to see all those extra ones. That's a big bonus to that kit. Glad they do that. Edelbrock does the exact same in their kit. These clips go flying like crazy. If you've ever rebuilt that carburetor, you've lost one of those clips. Just almost guaranteed. Little gasket for the choke assembly that goes to the main body of the carburetor to seal it off. And the little check ball and weight for the nozzle. So we've got everything covered in here. There is one thing that I don't see within this Walker kit, and it makes perfect sense. they do not include a set of instructions. Now, we talked a little bit about this in the Carter kit when we did it, but those instructions are very, very critical. If you will actually read those, rebuilding an Edelbrock carburetor is pretty simple. It's not overly complicated. It's not difficult. The instructions are pretty clear, and there's a ton of YouTube videos out there, obviously, on how to rebuild a Performer or an AVS series or an older Thunder series carburetor. So, obviously, it stands to reason they're not going to be able to put an Edelbrock instruction kit into that package, but that would be one where if you've never rebuilt a Edelbrock carburetor before, wouldn't be a bad idea to buy the Edelbrock kit because it's got the instructions in it. So, other than that, we're solid here. Everything that should come in that kit comes in that kit. Like I said, minus the instructions. Everything else is the same in the Edelbrock package. Now let's talk about price between these two kits. The Edelbrock one is still, at the time of this video, $53.95. Is what it is. That's just been the price for a while now, inflation, whatnot. The Walker kit is a little bit more money than the other Carter kit that we looked at a month or so ago, which I think is kind of interesting, but this Walker kit, as again at the time of this video, is around $42. So you've got an $11, $12 difference between the two. Do you get the same stuff? It looks like you do. Now, I'm going to get nitpicked on this, and it's okay. I'm all right with that. Let's talk about the accelerator pumps for a moment. The blue one, Edelbrock does have in some of their kits that are separate if you buy the accelerator pump assembly, like is in this Walker kit. It does come with a blue accelerator pump on it. The accelerator pump gasket that is in the kits are always that orange assembly. They're both E15 rated. You don't need to worry about that. They will both work just fine. They both fit down in there just fine. There is no real true difference between the two. They're fine. So, again, you're going to pay a little less money for the Walker kit than you are with the Edelbrock one, but like I'd mentioned, it's the instructions that you're not getting in the Walker kit. So there you have it. There's a comparison between the two kits. Jimmy, thank you so much for doing the research and certainly for sending me the kit. You didn't have to do that. I really, really appreciate your time and your effort. Jimmy's also a Mississippi guy, so he's not too far away from me, so that's a cool thing. But yeah, it's a good, it's a good way to save a few dollars if you can get one of those locally. I don't know where they're stocked or if they're kept locally. The Edelbrock kits are available local with the retailers, Pep Boys, AutoZone, O'Reilly. They usually carry them right there on the shelf or have them pretty quickly. So anyway, that's a good alternative for the Edelbrock one if you can't get a hold of it. But glad we had a chance to look at that. I'm glad that Walker does one that's specific for the Edelbrock carburetor. Certainly makes it a lot easier. One of the things we talked about in the Carter video is it can be kind of confusing, especially if you're not sure which gaskets are which. Those are very obvious. The only downfall in it, like I said, is no instructions. So, you get the premium with the Edelbrock kit, that's for sure. So, anyway, if you got any questions on this one, don't hesitate, leave them down below. And, we'll roll on to the next one. We'll see you guys later.